Hi everyone, it has been a while since I've done a live video and I'm trying something a little different. I am using my phone at a vertical position this time, and I'm going to walk over here so it might be a little bumpy, which is a little different than what I'm used to doing, but I wanted to try it anyway. Mindfulness with our children. I really want to talk about that because it feels like um, that there's this maybe misconception that children can't be still, or that it's too challenging for them to be still. And that really is a misconception, because even though your child may be the most super active kid on the planet, being still and having downtime will still benefit them, because that is the place where we can hear our inner voice. Hi everyone for showing up. Thank you for coming. That is the way that they know what it feels like to be still. And stillness, I know people, oh, kids have to be moving. I don't like the light here. Let me see if I can change that. That's better. Children have to be moving, and yes, they do. And we do provide opportunities for our children to move and run and hop and skip and play all the time. And if we don't, then yes, we should. But do we provide opportunities for our children to be still, other than when they're watching TV or listening to music? I don't know. I mean, maybe you do. And if you do, good for you. It is really, really important for our children to learn what it feels like to be still. Because in that place, that is where they can learn to, like I said, listen to their inner voice. They can visualize, because they're paying attention to their thoughts now if they're still. And they're listening to their thoughts and paying attention to them, and they're going to recognize not so wonderful thoughts and wonderful thoughts. They're going to recognize the difference. And this is the place where they start to use the tools of creating different thoughts to create what we want to happen in our life. Then they can pay attention to their imagination and visualize. Now, kids can imagine whether they're being still or running around. They're great imaginators. That's my own made-up word. They're imaginators. And that's why they're amazing at everything that they do, because kids can imagine whatever they want and it just happens. It's fabulous. But I'm going to go back to being still and creating a mindful moment, because I can't tell you, I'm going to tell you, I can't tell you how amazing it is, but this is how it started for me. I didn't start this technique with my kid. My kid was a super hyper, happy, active kid. She's still that way. She's still super happy and active, but she is very present and very mindful. And what I noticed when she was maybe 3, she started to have more of her own cycle of being still. And when she did that was when we were outside. So anytime we went outside, we would lay down on the grass and she would find something to watch, like a butterfly or an ant, something. And this was her quiet, mindful moment. So I learned that that was very important for her, because if she didn't have that downtime, her uptime was crazy. She wasn't able to do anything but be more out of focus and more frenzied. And I mean, she was still happy, but she was just frenzied and running around and not able to really focus on one thing to play at a time. And it just really, I noticed that when we did that more, when we spent more time outside in her mindful way, which she just showed me, then the rest of her life was still happy and crazy and fun and loud and active, but she was able to be more focused on it. It was more purposeful instead of scattered and unorganized. And she's still like this today, and she probably would kill me knowing that I'm telling you all this. But here is the actual story I was going to share with you, where I started using mindful moments in the classroom. Let's see, it was a while ago. It was like maybe 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, I would say. I was teaching kindergarten, first and second at a school with a co-teacher, and we had a child in our classroom. I'm going to try to do this without interrupting. Okay, we had a child in our classroom who he was on the spectrum. That's what they would call Asperger's at the time, and he had a very very sensitive. He was just very sensitive. So he would hear, feel everything. He would become very emotional. It was very challenging for him to be in the classroom with 28 children. So when we would sit at circle time, he would pace back and forth by the door of the classroom. And we would just let him, that was his tool, that was his way. But what I recognized day after day was that he never really had any downtime at school. All of his time was where he felt anxious. And all of his time was when he was moving about, trying to get away from the moments that he felt anxious. Except for when he was working and focused in his little section of the classroom. But still, he still was aware of all the, it wasn't really downtime. It wasn't present, mindful being time. So my friend handed me a chime. I guess I don't have it here with me. It's an energy chime. And I was sitting in circle, and I went ahead and hit the chime to start our meditation, is what we were going to do. And he stopped walking. He stopped moving. And I realized, wait a minute, something happened in that moment. Either he heard that, or he felt that, or something. So, and then I continued with our meditation, and then we ding the chime again to end the meditation, and he came and sat by me at circle. So later in the day, you know, I kind of was going through the day, and everybody was doing their lessons, and I asked him about the chime. I said, do you like the chime? He said, yes, I do. And I didn't really understand at the time, you know, exactly why this was so beneficial to him. But when I did it again the next day, he asked, when we sat in circle, he asked if I was going to use the chime, and I said yes. So he sat next to me, like behind me. Not in the circle, but behind me. So I realized that this was a huge thing for him. This resonated sound. So I started to explore with this. And while I was sitting in my meditation before school, at the same time of that year that all this was going on, I decided to see what would happen if I, you know, just asked them to listen to the chime and ask them what happened. Like, what happened when you heard the chime? And one kid said that he could feel it. Oh, I can feel that. And, you know, of course he can feel that. It's a vibration, right? Of course. Why didn't I think about that? So then we went on to exploring and experiencing all the different sounds, and where do we feel it, and do we feel it in different places in our body each time, and why is that? And we just went through this whole lesson on that, and it was amazing what they found out. And I'm going to let you explore that more with your child to see what you can find out. But the bottom line of it was they were so focused on their body, so present in that moment and listening so intently that they could feel that chime in their body. They just felt the sound, they felt the vibration. And the reason why this is beneficial is because this is building our children's focus, attention, presence, organization, feeling, confidence in trusting in their own knowing and beliefs, because everybody felt it, not beliefs, knowing and where they feel the vibration, because everybody felt the vibration in a different part of their body. There were a couple of people who felt it in similar places, but everyone is so unique, everyone, that they're going to have this experience differently. And that just went on to a whole new lesson about experiencing life and perspective differently, because each person is unique. But back to the mindful moment was that they were so astonished with how they could feel that they wanted to try different sounds, and they wanted to do more of just being present and listening and feeling. And so the focus in that classroom really settled down, and they went through their days. We would have more mindful moments, and they went through their days in a more focused classroom, in a classroom that was more present. And this boy didn't have nearly the anxiety that he had before. He had more anxiety once we left the classroom, and we had to come up with other strategies for him. But while in the classroom, he felt much more safe, and everyone did. Everything changed. I felt safer. I felt calmer in the classroom. It was amazing. And so, is this beneficial to our children? Is it helpful to them? Absolutely. And even my kid, who is active and never settles down, I'm not talking about my kid. I wrote that little question up there because some kids will say, not my kid. My kid will never settle down. Yes, even that kid. Mm-hmm. Downtime is so important because it helps soothe our nervous system and all the other reasons that I just said. It's crucial. If we want our children to be able to focus and pay attention to their thoughts and their feelings and be able to listen to their inner guidance that will guide them through their day accurately from their heart, instead of looking outside of them to gain direction all the time and to gain praise, and wanting to please. Well, this is the right choice for me. I feel this and I'm going to choose this choice. The first step is to learn to be still and to be mindful in that place of knowing and hearing it and focusing there. There's so much to this. It's amazing. And as adults, I'm going to move again here. Hold on. As adults, we know this, but okay, do we share this with our kids? Our kids aren't any different. They know this too. They actually know this better than we do, really, to be completely honest. Because think about it, when we're babies, we're so present. We just lay there and we check everything out. We look at everything. We listen to everything. We feel everything. And then as we start to grow and grow and grow, things change for us. And we want to go back to being that present, mindful being. And children are really good at that when they're really focused on happy things. They're really present. But when there's times when they're not feeling it, like they're feeling anxious, right? Or they're feeling mad, we want to go back to that mindful moment. So we want to bring them back to that mindful moment. And I just use a chime to do that. They take a deep breath and they take some time to be in that space. And it brings all of that down where they're able to understand it, recognize it, talk about it, move through it with another strategy, whatever is needed in that moment. It's powerful. Yeah, mindful moments are incredibly powerful. And I wanted to hop on here to share that. And I'm so grateful. Look at all the people who are here. Thank you for being here and listening. It's been a while since I've done a video. I've just been moving through a whole bunch of other things. So thank you so much for being here and listening. It's great to have you. And if you have any thoughts or feelings on this, please do share. Please give some examples or ideas or feelings about mindful moments with your children. Trying to think of some more stories I can share with you. For me, I'll share. When I first started being really present with myself, I was in high school, actually. My health teacher gave us a lesson, and she asked us to lay down on the floor, and she called it visualization, but we didn't actually visualize anything. We were just visualizing nothing. So it was really a mindful moment. So we were laying down and being and listening to sounds and just kind of seeing what happened. And I really loved it because I felt really relaxed, but I didn't know what it was and I didn't understand it. And my mind kept saying, what is this? What are you doing? And I kept hearing and thinking and hearing my thoughts. And this is kind of silly. And ask her about it later. Instead of just being in that relaxed state and feeling that, right? But the more we did it for 5 days in a row. It was for a whole week. And by that Friday, I was relaxed and I almost fell asleep. And that's when I thought, oh, this is good stuff. But of course, as I got older, I forgot because I wasn't practicing it until I became more present in my career and working with children. And then I realized more and started doing it again. But it really made a difference for me. And I wasn't a super active, unfocused kid. I was actually a very shy, introverted kid. So I imagine that, the whole class was totally still. We almost all fell asleep, I remember. And I imagine those children who were really, really, active and really busy physically, that they really needed this to soothe their systems. I needed it to soothe my mind, body. My thoughts were always going. So it was really helpful for me in that way. And it still is now. So yeah, does mindful moments help our kids? Absolutely, most definitely, without doubt. And it always will. And it will create a space for them, a tool for them to use as they go through challenges at school or feel anxious moments or angry emotions or challenges with friends or anything. They can just take a moment as they know what that feels like to be still. They don't even have to close their eyes and take a breath. They can just be in that moment for a second. It can take 10 seconds, and then they can step. You know, if they're getting ready to say a speech, if they're getting ready to do their play or play their instrument on stage, there's so many reasons why it's so beneficial. I just wanted to hop on here and share that real quick. So I appreciate all of you for being here, and I hope to hear from you, any stories or comments that you care to share. I gotta go, I have an appointment, but I love you all, and I hope to talk to you really soon. Thanks a lot.